Ladies and gentlemen, we start the final bout in middleweight division. Please into the ring, to the red corner. From Russia, Mikhail USOV.
So making his way towards the boxing ring is Mikhail USOV, 17 years of age. Former European junior champion in the lower age classification. Came through on a 4-1 split against Diaz Mojigitov of Kazakhstan. That was a very, very close contest. Mojigitov responded magnificently in the third and final round for my money with a terrific left jab. But it's USOV who was declared the winner on a 4-1 split. And that is how he has booked his place here in the gold medal bout, preparing for his 5th bout of Kielce 2021.
From Ukraine, Illia TOHOBYTSKYI.
Well, here comes Illia TOHOBYTSKYI of Ukraine. Now, for him, it has been an incident-filled run to the gold medal bout. He won his quarterfinal on appeal over Celes Filo of Brazil. Then in his semi-final, he was scheduled to face off against William Cholov, former European champion, but Cholov suffered a broken hand, so he won on a walkover. So what would be his 5th contest, had he competed in every bout of the 29kg middleweight bracket that he was scheduled to, is now his 4th because he didn't compete at the semi-final stage. So hasn't boxed since the quarterfinals. He'll be rested. How will that, if at all, affect his timing? We've got judges from Turkey, Ireland, Kazakhstan, Chinese Taipei, and Sri Lanka scoring this one. And Illia TOHOBYTSKYI, a European youth champion, the man in blue. So continental kingpins facing off here in the battle for World Championship gold. And another powerhouse showdown between the nations, Russia and Ukraine. Manuel Villarino of Argentina is the referee. And anticipation high ahead of the opening bell of this one.
Round 1.
So we're underway then. 75kg middleweight action in the gold medal bout between boxers from Russia and Ukraine. Mikhail USOV is the Russian boxer wearing red. His opponent, Illia TOHOBYTSKYI of Ukraine, is wearing blue. Nice left jab landed by the man in blue, triggered by quick feet. Both boxers just losing their balance momentarily. Right hand wasn't too far away from USOV. So both boxers member up at 75kg middleweight, so a broad archetype is that the punch output drops a little bit, but my goodness, these boys can bang. So perhaps a little bit more circumspect. Looking for that left jab once again is TOHOBYTSKYI. And maintaining the attack, but not really finding the range as he came with a 2-3 phase attack there. After his initial salvo fell short, he kept the attack going. And he's walked onto a single straight shot there by the man in red. He bustles away to the body in response. So clever single shot punch picking being produced by USOV. He's content to tie his man up in a clinch and then looks to find a straight shot success in reverse gear once again. Nice defensive maneuver to turn his man around and leave him facing out of the ring while he was backing ring center. Midway through the opening round, USOV content to primarily box on the back foot. Digging away to the body is TOHOBYTSKYI. Well, not the first time they've ended up in this posture. Of course, turning your back on your opponent is an infringement as TOHOBYTSKYI digs away to the body with his right hand. Goes downstairs once again to the torso of the slightly taller boxer. There's a lot of body to aim at, and he starts that subsequent attack with a right cross into the body of the man in red. So USOV trying to pick him off as he comes in, but it's untidy, this one. And TOHOBYTSKYI spoken to about keeping his head up and his responsibility in that regard. Nice right-left landed by USOV. Nice defensive maneuver from the man in red to dip underneath the left hand and then try and come back with the counter. Well, that's several stern talkings from Manuel Villarino in the direction of TOHOBYTSKYI. Wouldn't want to pick up an infringement for repeatedly dipping his head too low. Good right left, and then look at that straight shot success in the closing seconds. He's timing this strong finish very well indeed. Is USOV clear punches, picking off the advancing boxer in blue and then making him miss by spinning, by dipping and spinning out once again. Nice left jab by TOHOBYTSKYI. Well, a strong conclusion to the round for USOV, but a very competitive opening 3-minute round, and it's USOV who has taken it for all 5 judges.
And I think it was the finish that was just enough to do it for him, because up until that point, really, about 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 40 seconds in, out of the two of them, you couldn't really separate them too much on punching, I didn't think. And I was going to give it to TOHOBYTSKYI because he was the one on the front foot, he was the one coming forward. In that kind of situation, when you can't find a winner on that primary criteria, then you look at other things. But right towards the end, he just did catch him, didn't he, with some good clean shots. And I was beginning to get a bit frustrated with USOV because it looked like he was capable of it, but he just wasn't doing it, and possibly, in a sense, giving the round away. But he did enough at the end.
So a very clever performance in the opening round by USOV to take it 10-9 for all 5 scoring judges, and perhaps just showing intelligence, because in his semi-final he did give the impression of a fighter who was fading in his 3rd and final round against Diaz Mojigitov of Kazakhstan. Very circumspect approach here, dominating the space of center ring, standing with a wide-legged base. TOHOBYTSKYI into the pocket, lands a right hand as the two boxers look to disengage, but then straight shot success during the course of that trade-off for USOV. TOHOBYTSKYI hitting on the break. TOHOBYTSKYI looking to quicken his feet and get some dynamism into his boxing as he edged forwards. USOV practically standing sentry in the middle of the ring, holding his feet, hands up high around his temples, and then inviting the pressure that he's looking to counter. So minute gone in this 2nd round. USOV being very efficient with his movement indeed, and all of the work in terms of trying to get in, the running is being made by TOHOBYTSKYI. Turns southpaw momentarily, does USOV, just presenting a different look, a different posture to his opponent in blue. Edging forwards again behind those high-held hands, and that's terrific punch picking. Half hook, half uppercut from the left hand, and then came over with the right hand over the top out of that southpaw stance. Looking for the counter left hand once again. That was long, but the right hand was right on the money. So this very much a case of bull and matador beyond the midpoint of the 2nd round, as TOHOBYTSKYI momentarily turned southpaw, didn't pull the trigger in that stance, and he's back as a right-handed boxer once again. He bulldozes his man to the ropes, works away to the body. USOV spoken to about pushing down on the back and the neck of his opponent. Good right hand lead to the body landed by TOHOBYTSKYI, was winging away with hooks, and the final one landed on something of the man in red. Beautiful counter right hand from USOV once again, and this is a very brave, measured display. Hitting on the break, TOHOBYTSKYI turns his palms upwards as if to say, well, come on now, that's the break. You're not going to speak to him about that? But I suppose that's overridden by the referee's mantra, is protect yourself at all times. And after hearing the command of stop or break, TOHOBYTSKYI just didn't do that, and was, well, USOV helped himself to 2 free shots effectively. Here's a nice lead left from USOV once again. TOHOBYTSKYI, well, I think he's being outboxed here by some brilliant punch picking off the back foot from USOV, who has presented a switch hitting stance in this 2nd round. He's invited pressure, almost dared, goaded TOHOBYTSKYI to hit him, and he has beaten him to the punch repeatedly with accurate shot selection from both stances, orthodox and southpaw. I think that's another USOV round.
I would agree, and increasingly he's becoming more and more impressive, the Russian, because, as you say, he's warming into these rounds And possibly even choosing to start a little bit slowly, letting TOHOBYTSKYI take the wind out of his own sails to an extent, because he will do that. He's a come-forward fighter. You know that he's going to bring the pressure. He's muscular. He is a little bit basic at times, and I think USOV is confident enough in his own ability to switch on and get his own work done when he chooses, that he's happy enough just to let him come to him, take some gas out of his own tank in the first half of the round, and then in the second half of the round really look to kind of dissect him, and that's kind of what's happened, really, isn't it?
Very clever display and such efficiency on it. He hardly moved. He let the man come to him repeatedly and then was just accurate that he would find a range before his opponent. And that is how he has taken his second consecutive round unanimously. So as we go into the third round then, the man in blue needs a dominant round in realistic terms, because I don't think USOV at this level, of course, stating the obvious, you've got to be good to get to a gold medal bout. So unless you take a real Howlitzer of a hook, which sends you into dreamland, you're unlikely to be dominated. But of course, these 75-kilogram middleweights, they do pack that kind of power. So USOV, for him, the mission is to remain switched on, not to give anything away, and not to get caught by anything silly or anything heavy. For TOHOBYTSKYI, he has got to bring it in a bid to overturn a 20 points to 18 deficit for all 5 judges. And now USOV not really bothering with offense, just circling the ring, operating on the perimeter for the first 50 seconds or so of this final round. And it's TOHOBYTSKYI who's got to make all the running. And in realistic terms, or the most straightforward terms, he needs a KO or RSC if he hopes to occupy the top spot on the podium. But again, letting his hands go while engaging reverse gear is Mikhail USOV, and he's making life very difficult indeed for TOHOBYTSKYI to try and get into his own punching range. Fending him off with a jab as a right-handed boxer, just tapping out that lead left hand. Now hands down by his belt line. Now they're up in the familiar position, and look at that for punch success. Started with a right cross and then ended it with a left hand. And TOHOBYTSKYI, well, he keeps on coming. He's trying to close the distance and land the heavy artillery that is going to get him the type of success that he needs. But USOV just setting his stall out. And to mix our sporting metaphors for the moment, if this was football, I think they would call it parking the bus, because he's not going in search of his man. He's just inviting all of the pressure, soaking it up, and then neutralizing it with effective shot selection when he chooses to. TOHOBYTSKYI running out of time, and that is why he's getting on the front foot, but USOV remaining a difficult man to catch cleanly. And this has been a very clever display indeed, as he scores with a reverse 1-2 as out of the orthodox stance, hands down by his belt line, going walkabout beyond punching distance, and the clock continues to tick away, making this a more and more difficult endeavor for TOHOBYTSKYI. So short of picking up a warning or walking into a knockout punch, Mikhail USOV has got one mitt on the gold medal here at Kielce 2021. He has boxed a brilliant display, completely neutralizing the pressure that TOHOBYTSKYI was looking to bring to the boxing ring. The sound of the 10-second clapper will no doubt bring a burst of activity from TOHOBYTSKYI as he bites down and steps into the pocket, but a sidestep and a straight shot has neutralized him once again. A very good display indeed. And USOV, in stark contrast to his semi-final, looks as though he is hardly breathing and could box at that pace for 15 rounds if necessary. A fantastic display, and surely the announcement is a mere formality, because we're going to see Mikhail USOV crowned as the World Youth Champion here in Kielce 2021.
Well, look at him there in the corner. As you said, he's hardly breathing at all. He looks like he could do that again 2 or 3 times over, and that's really, really impressive at this stage of a long, hard competition. As I said, the nerves, the expectation, the nervous energy, the unusual conditions, all of that. And he's made that look like a spar, quite honestly. TOHOBYTSKYI coming forward was kind of made for him in a way, but when you're a very skillful, all-round good fighter, lots of people will be made for you. And that's what he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, in final bout in the middleweight division, win on points with unanimous decision. Boxer from the red corner, Mikhail USOV, Russia.
So Mikhail USOV sinks to his knees in celebration before thanking the boxing gods. He is the World Youth Champion here in Kielce 2021. A masterful display of clever boxing, keeping his cool over the course of the 3 3-minute rounds. Illia TOHOBYTSKYI, his incident-filled run to the gold medal bout ends with championship